Shalom. Giving all praises to my Heavenly Father. His name is Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shah by Hashem Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders that rule well. Peace and many salutations to Yakim that's toiling in his truth. I was watching this a few days ago and found it very interesting. This is Michael Irvin speaking about the son that raps. If you don't know who Michael Irvin is, he's a retired football player with the Cowboys. While he was playing with the Cowboys, um, they won 3 Super Bowls. Right, he's a Hall of Famer athlete. Now uh, his son is Elijah Irvin, and he goes by the rapper name Tut Tarantino. Um, and this guy, raps about, you know, the stereotypical cliche thug life, right? Um, and it made me think to myself, we don't have a continuous city here. We don't have legacy here. Even someone like Michael Irvin, you know, the accolades that he has, the awards that he received, the money that he's retained, you know, it's still that doesn't, you know, um, dismiss him from the curses, you know. And his plight made me think about, King Solomon. King Solomon had the same epiphany. One, we can't conquer death. You know what I'm saying? So, we're truly just surviving here. And also the fact that, your legacy is could possibly be given to someone who's a fool. Now, King Solomon, after he went to the spirit world, his son Rehoboam began to rule, and with him ruling, it caused the split between the northern tribe and the southern tribe that still has effects today, right? So the legacy and beautiful uh, kingdom that King Solomon, established, was all null and void. And on a smaller scale, you know, we see an example in that with Michael Irvin and his son. This guy, you know, uh, um, worked hard to get where he's at. Now we know, he's in a Gentile state of mind, right? And, spiritually he's off. But, carnally, he worked hard to get where he's at. Um, so that he could pass on that legacy. And that legacy, now is tarnished and dismissed by his son, right? Who prefers to be from the ghetto, right? And this guy grew up in a mansion, a gated community, threw all that way for so-called black culture, right? And uh, this represents something. This is an example unto us that, this is not our rest here. This is not our our resting place. This is not where we abide. This is not where we should esteem to get to establish our legacy, or aka our family, right? Because our family could be easily um, you know uh, tainted, for lack of a better term, by this world, right? And tarnished by this world, right? These kids nowadays, they exposed to so much wickedness. It's very difficult to um, shield them from this wickedness, and you hope that you're teaching them the ways of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. But who's to say that they're going to embrace your teachings, let alone the woman that you're laying with. You don't know what she'll do next. The apostles, bishops on down, always reiterate that you're sleeping with the enemy, right? Most of these women, they come from, certain backgrounds that, makes it very difficult for them to be so-called traditional wives. And on top of that, guess what? You can't be a traditional man here. You can't go and make the money and come home. She has to work, right? So there's a lack of respect there, right? And even if you're in a situation to where she could just stay at home, guess what? She don't know how to be a woman, and that affects the children. That affects the children, dog. So we living in a cesspool. We're living in hell right now. This is just a stepping stone for us to get the kingdom of heaven. Truly living is first off when we'll be able to conquer death, right? This is something that King Solomon perceived. He said, man, I have all these things, but I can't conquer death. I can't continue in this kingdom and forward this kingdom that I have, right? And eventually somebody, who's a fool could possibly take the kingdom that I have established in, this beautiful, fierce, flourishing kingdom and destroy it, right? And that's exactly what happened, right? You could go to work for 40 years, get a 401k, set up a trust fund for your kids, you know what I'm saying? Do everything right, right? And these kids grow up to be, idiots, you know what I'm saying? Right? Fat fucks, lazy, degenerates, okay? And all the hard work that you tried to pass on to them is tarnished within less than a generation. So we need Yahweh Shai to return so we can truly live. We're not living here, dog. This ain't life. We're just simply surviving to the next paycheck, right? To the next income tax, so you can buy something that you need, and and hopefully not utilize debt so much. Okay, so let me play this for you guys, man.
He raps. His rap name is Tut Tarantino. If you ever listen to some of his raps, I'm like, oh my God, where does this come from, son? You grew up in a gated community your whole life, but he's rapping my life because we romanticize and fantasize about that old thug life, ghetto life, and all of that stuff.
Now I'm gonna let you see his son, and what he's rapping about. This is his son right here.
Hey, we in the goddamn building, nigga. Big business, nigga. You know what's going on, nigga. Hello, Mellow is on, nigga. Hey.
It's wavy, baby.
That shit over here, nigga. Getting real money. Big business money, nigga. Count our profits till my fingers cramping. Don't do wallets, can't fill up a bill. Nigga cross even flat like he's Stanley. Get you touch, I'm at home sitting still. On my son, my young niggas do damage. Free my niggas sitting down in that county. I have money for buying my Pampers. Since a young little bitch I've been having. I'm a Cali rock, crowning that hat.
Yeah, this nigga, man. You know, so uh, this guy, you know, this guy here, the so-called privilege and that he, you know, received from his father, he throws it away to be a fucking thug, man. Right? And really, he a crash out. That's where the term came from. A crash out is somebody that you would use in the streets, you know, to do something illegal for you, and he'll take the rap for you, right? Now everybody say, "Oh, I'm crashing out." Well, the original crash out was basically somebody that you can manipulate. You know what I'm saying? Get over on in the streets, and this is what this guy is. He's a guy who's from the suburbs and he wants to be a thug, so he'll do anything to prove himself. He probably gave his partner so X amount of money. You know what I'm saying to invest in drugs, got fucked over on. You know what I'm saying? Taking raps for people, get locked up in county. All because he wants to, be a thug, man. And he had a golden opportunity to be totally fine. Go to college, get whatever to be totally fine, right? Right. This is why we don't have a continuous city here, because Jake is plagued mentally, bro. Plagued, dog. You know. And Esau Edom, he has his hands in it, right? By pushing this image, of thug culture and how this is, supposed to be, linked to so-called black culture, which you're not black. It's a color, right? We're the original Israelites. Also, the so-called Negro, Latino and Native Americans are Israelite too. It's not a color doctrine. Okay, it's more nuanced than that, right? The only way that our true culture, is going to flourish is when Yahweh returns to the world, evenly calls Jesus. His true name was Yahweh Shai. You know what I'm saying? A so-called black man of the tribe of Judah, the head tribe of Israel. It's going to return and set us back you know, in our proper minds, man. Mentally, we have been destroyed here, right? This thing is bigger than just a poverty problem. No, this is a mental situation. This is a mental, demented, demonic, mindset that we're dealing with, man. That has to be taken out of the way. Ultimately by who? By Yahweh Shai when he returns. Then we're going to be able to truly live. The elect are going to conquer death and have true rulership, right? And your children are going to be able to flourish. They're not going to be plagued with black culture, man. Okay? Right? So right now we're just surviving. We're surviving. We're not living. All right? That's it. When Yahweh shall return, that's when we're going to live. Let's get to some scriptures. Hebrews 13 and 14. For here have we no continuing city, but we seek one to come. Right? We don't have a continuous city here. Right? Everything that Jake, the so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, has tried to build has been destroyed. Whether it be from implosion or Esau Edom, right? And ultimately, we understand this is going on because of what? Because of the curses, dog. Right? Right? Are people under these false gods, which produces sin, and sin produces death, right? Sin produces death, you know, and death is what you see before you. It talks about that in Wisdom of Solomon, the 14th chapter, right, the 21st verse. You know, uh, you know, uh, all the wickedness that we see is because of idol worship, right? So, in order for our people to be totally washed from these idols, is well, first destruction has to come. The elect have to be, saying, you know, um, chosen by, you know, and Yahweh. Well, first off, Yahweh Shai has to return. The chosen are going to be delivered, right? And a rulership will commence, and the nation of Israel, all nation of Israel, will be saved by via Yahweh Shai. This is what we have to have, because right now we don't have you know a continuous city here. We don't have a legacy here. You know, the small things that we try to accomplish as men here can be easily destroyed by your children. You know, you know. Hate to say it like that, but it's the truth. The legacy that you want to pass on, okay, you know, can be tarnished in less than a generation. All right, and this is something that King Solomon recognized. Okay, now this is Ecclesiastes 2 and 18. Yea, I hated all my labor which I had taken under the sun, because I should leave it unto the man that shall be after me. And who knoweth whether he shall be a wise man or a fool? Yet shall he have rule over all my labor wherein I have labored, and wherein I have showed myself wise under the sun. This is also vanity. Right? So all the things that you labor for in this life, you don't know whether or not a fool is gonna come and destroy it. Right? Which more than likely that fool could be your child or your children. It's cold late. And this is precisely what happened to King Solomon. Look at Rehoboam. Right? Rehoboam, with his insolence and his arrogance, just destroyed the nation. Right? So all the things that King Solomon established in his mind was in vanity. It was empty. It was nothing. This is the same. Us on a very small level here, right? The things that we esteem to acquire, esteem to accomplish here is all vanity, dog. Because the things that you accomplish or trying to accomplish for the people you accomplish for could be easily squandered away. This is why it's so important for us to fight for the kingdom, right? To where we have a continuous city. Okay? Let's see if we get some more out of this. Yea, I hated all my labor which I had taken under the sun. Because I shall leave it unto the man that should be after me. And who knoweth whether he shall be a wise man or a fool? Yet shall he have ruled over all my labor, wherein I have labored, and wherein I have showed myself wise under the sun. This is also vanity. Therefore I went about to cause my heart to despair all the labor which I took under the sun. For there is a man whose labor is in wisdom and in knowledge and in equity. Yet to a man that has not labored therein shall he leave it for his portion. This also is vanity and a great evil. Right? So, man, you could build a business here, you know, find out the intimate parts of that business venture, establish a business, right? And want to pass it on. The person that you had passed it on to, which could more than likely is your children, right? They could be incompetent, right? So the things that you labor for, what's the point of it? For what hath man of all his labor and of the vexation of his spirit, wherein he hath labored under the sun? For all his days are sorrows in his travail grief. Yea, his heart taketh not rest in the night. This is also vanity, right? Toiling hard, trying to establish something here, it's vanity. When you have your own business, you have to be your own CFO, CEO, right? Human resource uh, department, right? Accountant, and also employer. You're going to work 12, 13 hours a day, and that's at the minimum. We're not even talking about well, actually, we did name it. So on the administrative side, man, it's an ongoing thing, right? And you're doing all these things, and you try to pass it on to someone, and he could be a complete buffoon. This guy, Michael Irvin, running heels, sprints, working out 2-3 times a day. You know what I'm saying? You know, uh, uh, press conferences. You know what I'm saying? PR campaigns. Uh, practicing with even broadcasting. You know what I'm saying? Just to make sure that he's on point. Doing all these things to set up a legacy for his child. And his child wants to be a fucking drill rapper, dog. King Solomon, what I'm saying? Clean up the administration by, certain people who crossed his father, getting them either excommunicated or put to death, making political pacts with various kingdoms, you know, expanding the kingdom of Israel. You know what I'm saying? Economically, having the nation of Israel flourished out. A time of peace like no we haven't seen for 40 years. All to be squandered away by his son. Right? Right? So we are looking for a new heaven and new earth to where our legacy can flourish and we don't have to deal with this vanity. Okay? The heartbreak of this world. This when we're able to truly live, not just survive, not just go along and get along, but now the vibration of Yahweh by Shem Shai is going to be living through us. Our culture, our way, our hegemony is going to be set up on the face of the earth. That's worth fighting for. Okay? Romans 8:16. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High. And if children, then heirs and heirs of the Most High and joint heirs with Mashiach. For so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. For I reckon that the sufferings of the present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. All right. For the earnest expectations of the creature waiteth for the manifestations of the sons of God. So everybody's waiting, even the creatures, they're waiting for us to rule, right? To be set up, to things to be set up properly, right? So the elect are going to suffer these things that we're going through, in order to achieve that rulership, man. Right? To set things in order for true legacy can flourish. The true Israelite legacy can flourish on the face of the earth, man. Right? Yeah, there ain't gonna be no more baby mama and baby daddy. You know what I'm saying? There ain't gonna be none of that bullshit, man. We ain't be talking about no baby mama and baby daddy issues. You know? Mixed blend family. You get with a girl, she got 2 kids, you got 3. You know, her kids stay with you, your kids stay with, you know, uh your baby mama and her and the stepfather, right? You know, you taking care of somebody else's kids, you know, and someone is taking care of your kids. It's just all messed the hell up. And the kids are growing up knowledge, meaning a life with no meaning, right? Confused as hell, bugged out, you know. What does that lead to? That leads to, oh shit, just trying to survive, trying to get a good job. Yeah, hopefully get a good job. Hopefully it works. There ain't no legacy established here, bro. Right? We gotta get the hell up out of here, man. That's the fight. Get up out of here. Okay? Verse 20, for the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who hath subjected the same in hope, right? So we were made subject to vanity by Yahweh, by Yeshem Yahushua, right? I said Yahweh, which means he is the true name of the Heavenly Father. I mean, he is or the existing one. By Yeshem, in the name, by Yahshem, in the name, Shem, right? Yahushua, right? The word English calls Jesus. His true name is Yahushua, a so-called black man from the tribe of Judah, right? He's going to come in and rectify, right, or amend what we see on the face of earth, right? And it's a blessing to understand that these things that we see is vanity and hope for a kingdom, you know, so we can be delivered out of these chains of darkness, this flesh, and truly be able to serve him to the utmost, and be, set up as kings and priests, saying, of the world. That's the end goal, man. So this place here, where pilgrims passing through, this is not the be all, end all, be all. We have to always keep your mind, in that train of thought, because this flesh wants to live. It's natural for a man to want to forward himself, his children, saying, and set them up in a good place. But we simply just, you can't do that here, man. Because again, you know, your offspring could be complete fools. Okay? That's why you had to prefer Yahweh Shai, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, over anything and everybody, and understand why you're in this ministry. Okay? Pray this is edifying. Shalom.